So here we are, the next part of the story mode, which is story battle number 5, Krillin vs Guldo. As Guldo is the first member of the Ginyu Force, I might as well tell you a little bit about him. His name is Guldo, which is the Japanese translation for the word yogurt, and as you can probably guess, all of the Ginyu Force characters are named after various dairy products, because the word Ginyu actually means milk, so I'll explain that later. Okay, Guldo is the smallest of the Ginyu Force members, and he's also one of the weakest, although he does possess an interesting ability to stop time. In the anime, there's a filler segment where Vegeta and Guldo exchange words. Guldo has 2 different beam attacks, the first being the M sound wave, and the second one being telekinesis, which is slightly stronger and does more damage. He also has his own unique version of the Foresight card, which is called Time Freeze, so every time he uses that, it's as if he's using the Foresight card, which prevents an enemy from successfully carrying out a stage attack, although I do believe it costs 1 CC to use. And he also has a card which slows the enemy down as well, which is called Paralysis. Any of those can be put on his limits. Okay, so on the left hand side of the screen we have Krillin, who's one of the Z Warriors. He's the main human character in the series, and he's also one of the strongest humans, in comparison with Tien, Chaozu and Yamcha, as well as Roshi and the other tournament fighters. So, Krillin was Goku's childhood friend. They initially started out as rivals, and then there's a lot of nice moments in the tournament sagas. Goku managed to avenge Krillin's death at one point in the series. So, Krillin has a few different attacks. He has the Kamehameha, as most of the Roshi students have. And he also has a few other moves, such as the Misty Kai Wave, the Destructor Disc, and the Super Destructor Disc in this game. So just to show you what Misty Kai Wave's like, it costs 23 CC and has a power of 30. And it's the attack he used against the Cybermen. And his other attack in this game, the Super Destructor Disc, has a cost of 28 and the power of 40, but only has 90 accuracy. So anyway, I'm going to try and weaken him up with Continuous Punch for 10 CC. Interestingly, in the series, Guldo's the only character that uses an ability to stop time, so he can freeze enemies' movements and then move around, although he's got a bit of a weakness in that he has to hold his breath, and unfortunately he's not very physically fit, so that means his power's not very good. I'm going to use After Image so that I can dodge his attacks. There's also a filler segment where Chaozu fights with Guldo on King Kai's planet. Okay, so Guldo is charging up, that means he's going to use some attacks soon. Guldo is the only member of the Ginyu Force not to wear a scouter due to the odd placement of his eyes. For now I'll just use Continuous Punch, and then I'm going to charge up and use a strong beam attack. Usually if you can get some attacks off early in the game, you can do quite a bit of damage, because the computer players don't really expect attacks from the first part of the game. And as the enemy's health decreases, they start getting more defensive and also unpredictable. Okay, so Guldo is using a 5-stage attack. That means next turn he's likely to use a beam attack. The computer players don't tend to use M Soundwave very much, but I find it quite an effective card because it's got a low cost and it does a fairly decent amount of damage, same as Finger Beam and Galactic Donuts. I could use a Kibito, but then that would probably make my After Image a bit worthless, so I'm going to leave that for now. Guldo tried to use the Paralysis card, which slows me down. Thankfully it didn't work. Right, now Guldo's probably going to use a beam attack, so I'll just block. Yep, Guldo's using telekinesis, which is his strongest attack. You'll notice that most of the Ginyu Force, when they use beam attacks, they do their traditional Ginyu pose. The only exception is Berta, because he doesn't have his own unique beam, although he does have the P-Comet cards, which I'll go into later. Alright, time to unleash a big attack. I shall go for the Super Destructo Disc, as that should do quite a lot of damage if it hits. And it's nice to watch anyway. Typically you kind of get that card from battle mode most of the time. And that managed to do full damage, and Guldo is dead! Wow, I think that must have been one of the shortest battles in history. Anyway, let's see what I win. Here's M Soundwave. So this is Guldo's weakest attack. It costs 10cc, has a power of 15. And then there's also Cell Combo, but I'll go into that later. So anyway, it turns out Guldo is beaten, and the rest of the Ginyu Force is surprised. And now they have to invent a new pose for 4 people. Anyway, now they're going to see who fights the rest of the guys. Now Raccoon wants to fight against Vegeta and the other guys. So, the next part of the story. You may think the Ginyu Force are weak, judging by the previous members' performance, but Guldo is a lot weaker than the others, and Raccoon is incredibly strong. So Gohan and Krillin want to join in the battle as well, because they don't want Vegeta to die. And that's the end of this part, as short as it is. Stay tuned for the next part. Thanks for watching.